I'm going to show you exactly what needs to happen for you to not only save your marriage, but have it thrive year after year. My name is Justin Bourgeois, and over the last 3 years, I've spent over 4,000 hours working one-on-one with high-performing men, business owners, executives, senior leaders, whose marriages were on the brink of divorce. And in this video, I'm going to show you the exact process that over 100 of my clients have used to turn things around. I'm also going to show you why trying to make your marriage better is actually making it worse, and the number one skill you must master if you want your wife to respect you, adore you, lift you, love you, and lust after you. Before I do, you can probably relate to the story I hear every single day. You're working your ass off providing for your family. You're sacrificing your time, your health, your happiness. You're stuck in the grind dealing with constant pressure and stress. And then you finally come home at the end of the day and it's chaos. The house is a mess, dishes in the sink, your wife is upset again, and you're already exhausted, already drained, already on edge. So you either blow up like a ticking time bomb, everyone walking on eggshells around you, or you shut down. You bottle it up. You sweep it under the rug. You sweep under the rug the growing disconnection between you and your wife. The fact that she's upset you work so much and you come home late, even though you're doing all this for the family. The fact that she doesn't feel supported around the house or with the kids, even though you're completely spent from the workday. And you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. It feels like nobody understands you. Nobody sees what you're sacrificing. You don't feel appreciated. You don't feel respected. You feel completely disconnected. And over time, that disconnection creates a massive rift between you and your wife. You're not lovers anymore. You're roommates sitting on opposite ends of the couch. Two ships passing in the night. Less intimacy, less sex, less connection, but also more. More arguments, more resentment, more silent treatment. And you don't realize it yet, but every ignored conversation, every swallowed emotion, every night you roll over in silence, it's all adding up. It's like a countdown you can't see until one day you realize you're about to lose her. And as a man, you built your life by pushing through. You became successful in your career or your business because you learned to be hard-headed. You don't accept failure. You don't dwell on problems. You just handle it. Because in business, emotions don't really have a place. When people depend on you, you shut that stuff off and you push forward no matter what. And that version of you works. It makes you money. It builds your reputation. It earns respect. But it destroys your marriage, especially once your wife has started pulling away. Because that same push-through mindset that makes you successful in business makes you emotionally unavailable at home. And the truth is, marriage requires a lot more of you emotionally. So when things start falling apart, you do what you've always done. You go into overdrive. You try harder. You say more. You fix more. But it only pushes her further away. Because in her eyes, it's not about effort. It's about how she feels with you. And right now, she feels emotionally unsafe, unseen, guarded, disconnected. So the real question is this: how do you stop unknowingly pushing your wife away and start intentionally building connection and trust every day? Not for a week, not for a month, but permanently. That's exactly what I'm about to show you in this video, so let's dive in. All right, so if your wife is pulling away, if she's said things like, I need space to figure things out, I want to separate, I can't stand you, I love you, but I'm not in love with you, if she said even like, I'm not attracted to you anymore, and you can feel her pulling away, and you want to fix your marriage, you want to save it, you want to rebuild your marriage, then you have three options. So I'm going to walk you through those three options right now. So option level one is what I call surface level fixes, okay? This is essentially, you trying to work on the marriage and show your wife that you guys can make this work. So the first thing most guys do is you work on yourself, but you're working on yourself for her, which creates resentment. So allow me to explain here. While the relationship is good and everything's fine and dandy, if you start to work on yourself, it's very attractive, right? It's a good thing to do that. When the marriage starts to struggle, when she starts to say the things that we just talked about, and then you start to work on yourself for her, right? To show her that you care, to show her that, I'm going to change for you. It creates resentment in her because it's like, hey, why didn't you do this before? I've told you 100 times. Now that I've drawn my line in the sand, now you want to change. Doing it for her means you're changing your behavior. You're changing who you are based on her emotions. It's not good for you and it's not good for her. And it gives her the leadership of the relationship, which is not where we want to be. Okay. The second thing here is using logic to convince her. Using things like if she says, she wants to separate or she wants to kind of end the relationship or she's thinking about that, the last thing you want to do is use logic. Say things like, hey, What about the kids? It's not good for the kids to grow up in a broken household. What about our money and our plans and my RSPs and all those different things? All that's doing is using something logical to try and combat her emotions. These are two different languages, two different worlds. Absolutely not going to work. Don't do it. It just comes off like you don't really understand. You don't really care. Now, the third thing is giving her more attention and favors, right? Bending over backwards for her. A lot of guys, especially a lot of guys that have worked really hard in their careers or businesses, they've achieved success, and their wife over time has told them things like, I feel like you like your work more than you like our family. I feel like you prioritize making money more than you prioritize being with us. And so once the relationship starts to kind of break down, what they do is they go the opposite way. And so they cut out work. They're going to bring her on trips. They're going to spend a lot of money on her. They're going to give her attention and smother her. And once again, you're doing things based on her emotions. Not a good place to be. You're very reactionary. These are all reactionary things. Another thing men do is they sacrifice their boundaries, right? You just start to placate. Another thing here is being nice makes her mean. Absolutely, 100%. So everybody, whether man or woman, needs constraints in life, okay? So if I go out in public and do something real silly, somebody's going to tell me, somebody's going to have a boundary, somebody's going to instill some type of consequence, right? It's the same thing in a marriage. If you let her walk all over you, it destroys the level of respect that she has for you, and until it actually destroys the level of respect that she has for yourself for treating you that way. The next one is fixing problems. Fixing problems creates more problems. 100%. I see this every single time. Guys come to me and they tell me, hey, Justin, I've been working so hard on my marriage. I'm doing everything she told me to do. I think I fixed everything. I just don't know what's wrong. She's not responding. She's actually, getting more angry, more distant. And the reason this is happening is because you're fixing the surface level problems and not the root problems. So if she's, if you're now emptying the dishwasher, you're coming home and cleaning the house, and you're doing all these different things, fixing the problems that she said were the problems. The root issue isn't that you don't empty the dishwasher. It's that maybe you're not home enough to empty the dishwasher. Maybe she thinks your values are misaligned. Maybe she doesn't think you have integrity and you don't keep your word. There's so many different layers to this. So if you're just scratching the surface, there's always going to be a next problem because you're not actually fixing the beliefs within her about you. So you can do this. You can absolutely work on option one, try and fix this yourself. The result is you're endlessly working on the marriage while attraction dies, respect fades, and you stay stuck as the same man causing the same problems. Okay? Option number 2 is traditional family therapy or couples counseling. One of the things that I don't like about traditional therapy or couples counseling is the fact that it 100% creates a codependence between you and the therapist. Okay? You and your wife learn that you can only have deep, meaningful conversations or productive conversations in the presence of this therapist. So when you're not there, what do? That's a very important thing. You're not learning the skills to be able to have the conversations yourselves. You're just outsourcing responsibility, outsourcing leadership to somebody else. And it's a very dangerous thing to do as a man in the modern world. I just want to warn you on that. The next thing is it's really focused on the past. So it's like driving a car, trying to go forward, get to your destination, but you're always looking in the rearview mirror. Very, very difficult to do that. It's very difficult for you to create a compelling future where your wife feels safe. She feels inspired about the future again when you're focused on all the problems of the past, rehashing every single little thing that happened. Okay? Another thing is where attention goes, energy flows. What you focus on grows, right? You focus on the past, you focus on the negative, you make it bigger, you make it more real. Another thing here is it's not designed for high-functioning men. What I mean by that is the therapy setting is a very emotionally based, okay? As we've said before, you're successful, which means you're obviously very logical and you're able to push through your emotions. You may not have the highest emotional IQ yet. We can train that, but for these type of conversations, you're going to be kind of left behind, left in the dust. A lot of the times, as I said here, the counselor sides with the wife. This is what I've seen in my practice from the guys that come to me. Not that this is a bad thing, but it's not really designed for high-functioning men because you go there, you have this emotionally charged conversation, and then you leave, and you don't have anything to sink your teeth into. What you want to do is fix the problem. So it's like, tell me what to do, I'll do it. But with these like very emotionally charged, looking behind us type of conversations, it's not really proactive, right? It's not like, hey, do these things, focus on this. This is what's going to fix the problem. That's what you need. You need structure, you need guidance, you need accountability. Another thing here is some therapists are absolutely harmful. Every single therapist brings their own baggage to the relationship. You'd be surprised how many therapists are out there who are on their second or third marriage. So just be very careful of that. It rips open wounds, and then what? Like I was saying before, you leave that and have no tools, no strategy, no structure, no plan to actually fix anything. And most of the time, the counselor sides with the wife. This is just the way our society is. Most counselors are women, and a lot of them have been tainted have seen a lot of divorce, right? A lot of these therapists have been doing this for a long time, and they know that the success rate isn't all that good, so they see a lot of divorce. So that's typically what they think is the best option. So the result here is you spend thousands of dollars rehashing the past, stuck in emotional loops, never becoming the man who could actually lead the relationship forward. All right, option 3. Option 3 are generic coaching programs. Basically one size fits all, mass-produced big programs. What happens here is these programs focus on information and not execution, okay? And I know this because I've been through these programs. Most of my clients have been through these programs as well. You're bombarded with hundreds of videos, right? You join a program, it's like, hey, watch all these videos, do all this stuff, and you should be good to go. If you have responsibilities, if you have a busy life, if you have people relying on you in your business or at work, very difficult to sit down and watch all these videos. It's also very difficult to organize your mind, right? Because one day you watch a video about masculine, feminine, one day you watch a video about trust, one day you watch a video about this. It's just very, very difficult. Another thing here, which is really important, this is what I've found to be very, very true. There's no filter. So anybody with a Pulse and a credit card will be let in. So what that leads to is most of these courses have group calls. These group calls are hijacked by venting and victimhood, right? You get on a call for an hour, you're exhausted after the workday, you're taking time away from your family, and you get on a call and there's a bunch of guys just complaining about their wives and just complaining, and it's not really beneficial to you. In fact, it actually, and I've experienced this in these programs, it actually dropped my energy. You know when you're around people that bring your energy up, that's what you want, okay? So you want to make sure that if you are going to join a program, you join a program with high-level men. No standards, no bar, no pressure, okay? You're just thrown in the group, you're thrown in the program and do your own thing, doesn't matter. And you know as much as I do, in the real world, that doesn't work, right? If you run your business with no standards, no pressure, nobody's going to perform. It's the same thing with you, and you and I both know that. A lot of the times coaches are junior coaches. They're paid hourly or they're outsourced. You don't really know who you're getting before you get in there. Even if you're lucky enough to get a program that has one-on-one coaching, you have no idea. Once again, these coaches could have their own baggage, right? It's the same thing. You don't know who you're working with. That's the difference between our program, is like, you know you're going to be working with me. So coaches coddle instead of confront. This is very, very important. It's also the same thing in therapy. What happens is, because people want to get paid, they don't want to upset you too much. So they'll tell you what you want to hear instead of what you need to hear. I'm the opposite. If you join me, if you pay me, I am very results oriented, right? My goal isn't to make you feel good and to tell you you're doing a good job. My goal is to get you results. My goal is to help you fix your marriage, to help you have a top 1% marriage so that your marriage actually propels your success forward instead of pulls you back. That's what I care about. Now, it doesn't mean I'm going to be heartless and I'm going to dig into you and call you an idiot and all these things. Absolutely not. But I'm going to tell you the truth. And that's very important, especially for men at your level. The reason high achieving men, we achieve what we do in life is because we live our lives based on truth. Not a lot of people do that. It's very important to realize that here. Like, here's an example. If I were to go talk to an obese person and I would ask them, I would say, hey, why is it that you think you overeat? Odds are that obese person gets super upset at me. They get angry. They get mad. Okay. Why would you ask me such a thing? The reality of it, they're not getting mad at me. They're getting mad at the truth, right? It's not me. It's the truth. The truth is they're obese. A lot of people hate the truth. So if you actually want to change, you need to allow your ego to fall to the side, and you need to allow the truth to come through. It's absolutely necessary. All right, so option 3 here, if you decide to join a generic coaching program, you're going to be drowning in content while your edge, your leadership, and your self-respect quietly rot. Okay, so we also see here there's another option, right? Option number 4 is you become an empowered husband. And that's what we're going to be talking about in this video. What does that mean? What does that look like? And I'm going to show you down here all the results that we've achieved with the Empowered Husband Method, a little bit of my story, and then the transformation, the philosophy, the stages of marriage recovery, and the program and what that looks like. Okay? So the old way to do things is you focus solely on the wife. You focus on her emotions, what she's saying, what she's doing, what's going on in her mind. The new way to do it is you focus on the man as the leader. The old way is to try to manipulate outcomes. The new way is to regulate yourself and lead emotionally. The old way is performance under pressure, right? You're learning communication strategies, tips and tricks and skills to try to say the right things. You're performing, and she can feel that. The new way is stability under pressure. The old way is getting surface level advice, right? The new way is root cause transformation. You have to become a different man, a different version of yourself for this to work. You're not just going to have some little advice or this is like throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks, right? The old way is lots of information and advice. The new way is one clear integrated method. The old way is more learning, reading books, listening to podcasts, always on YouTube, on Instagram. The new way is daily execution and embodiment. The old way is guessing what's working. The new way is clear standards and feedback loops. The old way is temporary results. The new way is permanent internal change. The old way is low access. The new way is high access and real-time support, right? Low access, an hour a week in therapy. Low access, group coaching calls or calls once in a while in these generic group programs. Instead, we have high access and real-time support, 24/7 access. Whenever you have a question, whenever you have anything, you come to me and I'll get it answered. I'll help you out. Another thing here is comfort first guidance. Like I was saying before, people just focus on making you feel good. This is discomfort with purpose. You're going to leave this program a purpose-driven man, but it's going to be uncomfortable. Where do you grow? Do you grow when you're in your comfort zone or where you step out, right? That's what we want. We want you to grow. The old way is no clear standards. The new way is non-negotiable standards. The old way is doing it all alone, and the new way is coach-guided, held to the bar. Okay? The new way is becoming an empowered husband. You don't need to focus on any of these. You don't need to go at it alone. You don't need anybody else's help. You become the man. You become an empowered husband. You empower yourself to actually save your marriage, fix your marriage, transform your marriage, not just for today, but forever. And if you do that, here are some of the results you can expect. So here we have Darcy. When Darcy joined us, him and his wife were in family therapy for 14 months. 14 months straight of family therapy. He would tell me, so Darcy'd work 12-hour shifts. He was a high earner. He'd work 12-hour shifts, come home, and he and his wife would have 3 to 4 hour long, drawn-out conversations. She was a stay-at-home mom. Essentially, he'd say, I'd come home from work, and she was there ready, and she wanted to give me a piece of her mind. She had stuff she wanted to talk to me about. She was still holding on to the past, and he's like, no matter what I said, no matter what I did, we just kept having the same conversations, being stuck in the same loops. And the same thing with family therapy. He said, I communicate a little bit better, but other than that, nothing's changed. Okay? That made him feel like he wasn't good enough for his wife. A couple weeks after working with Darcy, we were able to tackle the root problem within his marriage. Okay? So Darcy, this is what Darcy said. So Darcy's wife looks at him like she used to, and their marriage is, as he said, fixed. Right? He has peace in his household again. His marriage it's giving him peace instead of stress. Okay? Very important. Let's go here. Raj. So the moment we started speaking, I felt a new path had begun. The program just hit from the onset, and I was excited to work on myself. Combined with his genuine care for his clients, I saw and felt growth quickly, and my family and friends noticed a significant difference early on and still do. Most critically, he holds me accountable, and it has become like a superpower. Thankful and very excited to keep the growth path going. So this is Raj. He joined me when his wife was starting to pull away. They were talking about separation. He completely transformed himself, got in better shape. His mindset improved. When he joined me, he said he was like kind of had a negative mindset, especially after his wife started pulling away, where he kind of had like this victim mindset, started pulling away, started like sulking a lot more. And we were able to transform his energy, and his wife responded to how he started showing up. Here we have Brad. Marriage was effectively dead, living in the same house, but disconnected, no real communication, emotionally shut down. I think there was a point where he told me he hadn't seen his wife for 3 months. She was like away and they hadn't spoken or seen each other for 3 months. That's, I think, about the time we started working together. We figured out that his wife was forced into both the masculine and feminine roles, and he avoided hard conversations and withdrew under pressure. So we were able to help him correct that, and now he's communicating deeply again with his wife, rebuilding connection, and he told me his marriage has done a complete 180. So that's absolutely incredible. Once again, this was within a couple months. Carl says, Justin was patient but held me accountable. The tools he provided are invaluable in figuring out who you really are. A better understanding of yourself helps you become present for everything else in life. He became more present as a father and as a husband, which was like the biggest thing for him, right? He had a lot of anxiety and struggled a lot to be present in his relationships, which was causing him a lot of grief in his intimate relationship. Okay, we have Joel here. Let me just go around here. We have Zach. We have David. David says, what makes Justin stand out is how invested he is. This isn't some generic watch a bunch of videos and figure it out type of program. He challenges you, he checks in, he holds you accountable, and he truly cares about your progress. The tools he gave me changed the way I show up, not just for myself, but in my relationships, my family, and every area of my life. My friends and family noticed the difference early on, and honestly, I did too. Today, I feel more confident, more aware, and more in control of my life than ever. All right, let's keep going here. Who do we have here? Broden Rank. Not only did he help change my perspective on things in my life that I knew needed change, but was also able to identify areas that I was unaware of that were holding me back and subsequently provided practical solutions to allow for infinite growth. For me personally, this meant overhauling all of my thoughts on what success could look like to aim way higher than what I thought was possible. He says here, because of his guidance, I'm much more in control of my life in all aspects, time, work, family, marriage, than ever before. And I'm hyper aware of who I am and what's important to me. Here we have Ben Nelson. Justin came into my life during an incredibly difficult period, and his support was exactly what I needed. He helped me slow down, communicate more effectively, and truly understand my wife's perspective in ways I hadn't been able to for years. Through his guidance, I gained clarity, patience, and the tools that allowed me to approach our conversations with more empathy and intention, which made a meaningful difference during a very challenging time in my life. Ben's marriage was on the brink of divorce when we started speaking together. He was able to, as he said, completely change the dynamic and shift how he shows up in his marriage. We have Brad here. He said, it's not just a program with a book and videos that you follow and learn from. There's real work that you have to do to really figure out yourself, but you have to dive in and do the work. And Justin is always there to help guide you. He doesn't just send you a bunch of videos and let you watch it at your leisure. Okay, then we have Ben here. When Ben joined us, he was struggling to be present in his relationships and was constantly stressed, burnt out, and overwhelmed because of his business. Okay, he had a lot of pressure, a lot of stress going on there. So he finally found peace within his mind, his home, and improved all of his relationships. He took what he learned to stop self-sabotaging, got his life back, and even grew his business to new heights. Okay. Here we have Ed. Ed said, I interviewed several different life and marriage coaches before I met Justin. After the first call I had with him, I knew he was the coach I wanted to engage. Justin's open, honest, and down to earth, yet will also give you critical feedback and challenge you when needed. He has helped me grow in so many ways I never thought possible. If you're on the fence, go with Justin. Darcy, this program changed my life. I came in trying to save my marriage, but I didn't realize how much I needed to change first. Justin helped me get control of my emotions, become a better communicator, and start showing up the way my wife actually needed. Our marriage is better than ever, and we're reconnecting in ways I honestly didn't think were possible. If you're a guy struggling in your marriage and tired of going in circles, this is the real deal. Let's do a couple more and then we'll move on and I'll show you exactly how these guys achieve these results. So here we have Tony. Tony said, as a business owner, I'm used to solving problems, but my relationship with my wife was one area where I felt stuck. Working with Justin at Thrive Men's Coaching was a game changer. He understands the unique pressure that comes with professional success and helped me apply that same drive to my personal life. My marriage is in a much better place thanks to his guidance. Highly recommend for any man looking to level up. Here we have Jeremy. His wife told me he had 2 weeks to move out. He joined the program. After 6 weeks, she canceled the separation and recommitted to working on the marriage. She also started working with a therapist to work on herself. So Jeremy led his marriage back to life. He now has his confidence, his life, and his wife back. Okay, so here are just some of the examples of people that have experienced incredible results through our Empowered Husband program. All right, so now the question is, how did I come up with a program that kind of flips traditional marriage advice on its head? Okay, how did I create this fourth option? And so to understand that, you have to understand a little bit of my story. So I grew up right up here in Northern Canada, 8 hours north of Toronto. My parents did not have a lot of money growing up. My parents had me at 20 years old. And I remember when I was 11, my mom and dad told me, they said, hey, if you want to be successful, if you want to make a name for yourself, you're going to have to start saving up because you're going to have to put yourself through school. And so that's what I did. At 12 years old, I had the largest paper route in the city. And I worked since. I've put myself through school. And here you can see here in 2017, I graduated as an engineer. In Canada, engineers get little pinky rings. So that's what I was showing off there. I worked as an engineer for 3 months and I absolutely hated it. I was stressed out. I was burnt out. I had trouble sleeping. And the whole reason I became an engineer was because that little kid that was told, hey, if you want to make it, if you want to be successful, you got to pretty much go to school and get a good career, didn't realize that there was a lot more to life than just what you do for work. And so, yes, I chased success. I wanted to be successful. After 3 months, I said, hey, I am too stressed. My health is falling apart. My relationships are falling apart. I'm not the person I want to be. So then I decided to become a diamond driller. And I made even more money, but I was away for 28 days at a time. So if you don't know what diamond drilling is, essentially it's in very remote locations. The most comparable career is oil rigs. So essentially if there's if we suspect there's gold or uranium or copper or silver somewhere, we're going to send diamond drillers out there, very remote locations, and we're going to drill core out. The lifestyle of this job is you work 12 hours a day, every single day, 28 days in a row, no weekends off, no sick days, nothing like that. And then you fly back home. Okay, so you're either working days or nights, and then you come back home for 14 days. Made good money, was able to save a lot of money, but I was extremely lonely. My last hitch, I did this for a year and a half, and my last hitch, I cried myself to sleep for the last 3 days. Okay? So then I decided, I was like, hey, you know what? Making money but being stressed, no fun. Making money but being lonely, no fun. I said, let me pick like a lifestyle kind of career. So I became a teacher. So I went to New Zealand for 10 months, fast-tracked my teacher's college, and then I taught for 3 years. And what happened here was after the second year, I started becoming comfortable and complacent, and I started kind of like losing that fire within me. And so that's when I became a life coach. I started my podcast. I became a life coach. And not long after this, so when I jump into stuff, I jump in heavy. So every single career I've done, I've moved up as quickly as I can. I was like one of the quickest guys to ever get a raise here. Within my first year, I had all the credentials I needed to be at the top of the pay scale as a teacher. And so when I jumped into life coaching, I got as many certifications, accreditations as I could. I started my podcast. I had joined courses, masterminds, tried every morning and nighttime routine I could. I absolutely became obsessed with personal development, growing in self-awareness, all these different things. Because of that, I was able to land very, very successful clients very early on. So here we have Garrett. Garrett was my first client that ever hired me to work with him. So Garrett had started and scaled 3 7-figure companies in a row. On his last exit, he wanted to become a keynote speaker. Okay, but he was struggling with clarity, he was struggling with consistency, and he was struggling with a little bit of self-sabotage. So as a life coach, as a coach that helps guys with their mindset, stop self-sabotaging, I worked with Garrett. Within the first year, we took him from having no keynote speaking career to traveling around the world, speaking in Japan, speaking in front of Coca-Cola, Michelin, and landing a whole bunch of massive speeches, okay? This is just one example of the people I've worked with as a life coach before I went into relationships. And I'm showing you this to show you that I've been working with high status men from literally the very beginning, literally my first client. And since then, these are the type of men that I help. And I'm showing you this because as you'll see, the program that I've created, the Empowered Husband program, is for high functioning, high performing, successful men. Okay, so I know these men. I am one myself, and the clients that I've worked with up until now for the last 3.5 years are these men. Okay, so I know, and especially helping these guys with their mindset, with their mindset, you really just learn a lot. So let me kind of finish the story off here. Somewhere along the way when I was teaching, I met the love of my life. Okay, here's Emily right here. The reason I did everything. The reason I wanted to be successful, the reason I wanted to be disciplined and consistent and strong and all those different things was for this beautiful woman here, right? I knew one day I was going to meet the woman of my dreams, and I did. And I can't say how much my life has improved since she's been in it, okay? So we met, we traveled the world. This is us, I don't know, on a beach somewhere. This is us in Bali again here. We lived in Australia for 6 months. My parents came and visited. This is us in Australia in front of a waterfall. This is us in Bali doing some ritual of some sort. And we've also moved to Austin, Texas. So we really lived an incredible life. And what happened along the way is I started to realize that as I was coaching these men, my passion, what I really, really, really wanted, and so what life coaching is like guys will come to you for all different types of life problems, right? Whether it's personal struggles, relationship struggles. And what I really started falling in love with is helping guys in their relationships. And so I became absolutely obsessed with that. And that's when I spent over $30,000 on the top marriage courses and the top relationship courses. Okay. I went through the programs. One, because I wanted to be a better husband. I wanted to be the best man I could be. And that's my absolute mission in life, is just to be the best man, husband, and father I can be. So it was an investment into myself, for one, because I knew I struggled with things. I struggled to manage my emotions. I struggled to lead emotionally. I struggled sometimes to, be present with Emily. And also, so it was for me and it was also for my clients to help them get the best results possible, because they were already getting results in their relationships before I even did that, before I had this framework that I'm about to show you. But after this framework, their results just excelled. Okay, so that's the story. That's how the empowered husband was created. Okay, so now what I want to do is I'm going to give you a detailed explanation of exactly how we can take your marriage from ice cold to red hot, how we can take your problematic, sexless, dull marriage and turn it into a peaceful, passionate, and loving marriage, okay? There are three distinct different phases, and I'm going to walk you through every single one. The first one is the transformation. Anybody who tells you you can have an incredible marriage, you can fix your marriage without changing who you are is full of it. Okay? That's why those marriage courses and just watching videos and reading books doesn't help, not going to help you. And I'm going to break this down and show you exactly what I mean. And I'm going to show you what the transformation looks like so you actually know what you should be doing, what you should be focusing on. Okay? So this is a pyramid that I got from NLP, so Neuro-Linguistic Programming. This is one of the pyramids that a guy named Robert created. And essentially there are 5 different levels, okay? 5 different levels of transformation. There's environment, there's behavior, there's skills and competencies, beliefs, and identity. So let's break this down. When we look at environment is the environment of the marriage right now. So for you, it's what you're feeling. You're feeling disrespected, unappreciated, unloved. You're feeling alone. You're feeling neglected, all these different things. The environment for her is she's feeling alone, unheard, unsupported, emotionally unsafe, neglected, unloved, insecure. Okay, so that's the environment. Those are just the facts. This is the environment probably that are happening in your marriage, right? So what happens is, when people want to change the environment, the logical thing they do, what they look at is they look at the behavior. They look one level up, okay? So what do? You modify your behavior. So you go into apology mode, where you're over-apologizing, you're saying sorry, you're taking blame for everything, you're begging for forgiveness. Or you go into romance mode. You buy her flowers, you plan date nights, you book trips, you buy gifts, trying to recreate the good days. Or you go into chasing mode, where you're constantly texting her, asking if she's okay, asking if she still loves you, trying to talk things out every single day. Or you change your behavior and you go into overcompensating mode, where you're doing all the chores, you're being overly helpful, you're saying yes to everything, trying to be perfect and putting her needs above everything else. Or you go into self-improvement mode. You hit the gym, you change your look, you watch relationship videos, read books. Here's why none of this stuff works, guys. You're changing your behavior to try to change her environment, change the environment in the relationship. It seems logical, but it's literally the definition of manipulation. You're changing your behavior to try to get an outcome, right? If I act this way, right? If I start buying her flowers, maybe she'll see how much I love her and she won't feel alone. Maybe if I start, over apologizing, saying sorry, she'll realize that maybe I did love her the whole time, right? Maybe if I start doing all the chores, she'll feel loved again. That's not how it works, guys. So what you have to do is you have to look at the next level of the pyramid, right? Behavior, you look at skills and competencies. So behavior is what you do. Skills and competencies is how you do it. Much more important, much more impactful. So when it comes to communicating, the skills and competencies that you need to develop, and I'm breaking this down because when you work with us, you're going to see that we have a very targeted, very specific approach. Depending on the skill and competency that you're missing, that you're lacking, that we identify in our sessions, we're going to give you a prescription on how to fix it, how to improve, how to up-level that skill, right? Just like in business, just like in your career, there are skills you need to learn. It's the same thing in marriage. Marriage is a skills game. Once you realize that, you become empowered to actually lead your marriage, to actually change your marriage completely. So here are just some of the skills. Brief little overview. Communication. Opening her up emotionally. That is a skill. Expressing yourself without defensiveness. Saying hard things calmly. Choosing the right timing to have conversations. Asking better questions. Getting her to actually open up. Getting her to let that wall down. and knowing when to shut the hell up, right? Also very, very, very important. These are skills. Another skill is emotional intelligence, being able to read her emotional shifts, being able to not take things personally, being able to sit with discomfort. And sometimes that discomfort is her emotions. You need to be able to sit in that to allow her to feel those emotions. Very common for high-performing men to not feel comfortable doing that whatsoever. Because in business, it's important that you push your emotions to the side and you just push through. But obviously, you can't do that with your wife. So this is a skill to learn. Knowing when to give space versus support. Very important. This is emotional intelligence, guys. Staying present when emotions rise. Not shutting down, not getting angry, not running away, any of that stuff. The next one is leadership. So leadership skills means leading yourself first, setting boundaries calmly, holding steady under pressure, creating emotional safety, and not forcing outcomes. The last one's really important. A lot of guys force outcomes, even though they don't think they are. Conflict management. So de-escalating arguments, staying grounded during tension, repairing after fights, not needing to win, and ending conflict cleanly. And the last one is emotional regulation, controlling your reactions, pause before speaking, not exploding or shutting down, and holding your frame. Okay? You can see if you have these skills, you're way ahead of the guy that's just trying to change his behaviors. Because this guy is changing his behaviors based on his wife's emotions. And guess what? Your wife's emotions change, right? Not only does she have her time of the month, but depending on the day, depending on so many different things, her emotions change. So she can be hot and cold. So here's the thing. If you're just changing your behaviors, maybe your behaviors are good. You're trying to do something good. You are doing something good. And then one day she reacts differently and she tells you she hates it when you do that. Well, you're going to stop doing it. Not because it's right, not because you should stop doing it, but because you're basing your behavior on her emotions. So guess what? That gives her all the power, which she doesn't want the power in the relationship, by the way. It makes her the leader. It means her emotions are leading the marriage, right? Very dangerous place to be. You should be leading the marriage. So you start to take that leadership as you move down this pyramid. So skills and competencies. If you're this guy, you're way ahead of this guy that's just focusing on behaviors. You're focusing on your skills and competencies. Okay? How do I communicate? How do I do this? Much better. But there's still two other levels, beliefs and identity. The next one is beliefs. And this is insanely powerful, guys. This will change your life. So here's one of my favorite all-time quotes by Gandhi. He says, your beliefs become your thoughts become your words become your actions become your habits become your values become your destiny. Everything in your life was created because of your beliefs. Right? Conor McGregor has this great speech where he says, if you can see it in your head, you can hold it in your hand. The thing is, your beliefs can manifest positive things, but they can also manifest negative things. So you're successful, which means you most likely have the limiting belief that I am not good enough. Okay? It sounds counterintuitive, but most of us that want to achieve great things do it because we feel like we're not good enough. I want to be very clear. So when I say this, some guys will push back and go, no, I don't have that limiting belief. These are not conscious beliefs. When I talk about beliefs, I'm talking about the subconscious. You're not consciously thinking what you actually believe about yourself, about your wife, but those are thoughts, different. So there's a conscious and the subconscious. The subconscious is what runs your life, right? Some people are stuck in a scarcity mindset their whole life. They're not consciously thinking, I'm in a scarcity mindset. I don't think there's enough money in the world. That's what they believe down here. You have some beliefs that are causing you grief in your marriage, in your life, that are subconscious. So what we need to do is we need to identify those subconscious beliefs. We need to start rewiring them. Another very impactful part, and why I like this pyramid so much, it explains everything you need to know and everything you need to do. So if we look at beliefs here, you have your beliefs that have an impact on everything else. So what I mean by that is, if I believe I'm going to be the best basketball player in the world, right? If I'm 10 years old and I believe I'm going to be the best basketball player in the world, it's my destiny. Well, guess what? When it comes to my skills and competencies, I'm going to approach that training. I'm going to approach developing my skills and competencies with a much different mindset. I'm going to have the mindset of a killer, right? Like Kobe. He had to be the best. That was his belief. I will be the best in the world, which means that had a massive impact on that next level of skills and competencies, which means his behaviors were completely different, which means the environment, who he becomes, the environment he creates when he's on the floor is completely different. Here's another thing. So your beliefs impact your skills, impact your behavior, impact the environment you create. Another thing is behavior without skills is completely useless. let's stick with the basketball analogy here. Let's say I told you, hey man, if you want to be really good, you have to shoot 10,000 free throws every single day. You go, deal, I'll do it. And you shoot 10,000 free throws and you shoot granny shots or behind the back and all these stupid shots. You don't have the right form. Is that effective? Is that worth it? Are you spending your time wisely? No. So if you're focused on behavior, think of that. Think of that guy that's shooting free throws with the complete wrong form and he's spending 6 hours a day doing it. That's exhausting. What's going to end up happening is he's going to give up. And that's where a lot of you guys are at. You want to give up because you don't know what the hell to do to change. On the other hand, if I were to tell you, hey, shoot 10,000 free throws, but shoot them this way, right? This is what you're supposed to do with your feet, with your knees, with your elbow. This is the form you're supposed to have. Way different. And then if on top of that, if you have the belief, I'm going to be the best basketball player in the world, wow, that's a winning combination. Okay, so let's talk about you specifically within your marriage. I'm going to go over some main beliefs that are keeping you stuck and the main beliefs of a leader or of what I call an empowered husband, okay? So one belief that keeps you stuck is desire is gone forever. Assuming that attraction works like a switch instead of something that you lead, that you have power over, right? Desire may be gone for now because of the man you've been, but it can come back because of the man you're going to become. So that's the belief you need to have. Desire is built through leadership. Attracts in response to how I show up. 100% true. A belief that's keeping you stuck. Once again, these are subconscious beliefs. Doesn't mean you're consciously thinking this, guys. So if I change and she still leaves, I've failed. A lot of people think this. That's why they don't fully 100% commit to the change, commit to themselves, join a program. So essentially what you're doing is you're tying your growth to her choices instead of your standards. The better way to look at this, instead of if I change and she leaves, I failed, it's I grow for me, not for outcomes. Okay? I become the man regardless of what she does. If I try hard enough, I can fix this. Believing effort matters more than identity. Just try harder. Shoot more free throws with the wrong form. The good belief to have, the right belief is identity fixes what effort can't. Who I am matters more than what I try. And you'll see the next thing is identity here. I've already tried everything. I haven't tried this version of me. I need my wife's participation to fix it. One man can shift the dynamic. I don't trust myself to change long term. I build systems, not willpower. This is a big one. We help men. Like one of the reasons we get such good success is because I help men break negative life patterns. If you can do that, if you can break your negative life patterns within your relationships, within your marriage, even within your business, because a lot of the times we bring that stress home with us, right? If we're not the man we want to be, we're not fun to be around. That's just a masculine thing. That's just how we are as men. I know this. I've personally been through this. If I'm not living up to my potential, if I'm not being the man I want to be, I don't show up the same way. I'm not as present. I'm not as happy. I can't enjoy the moment. And I take it out on my wife. I take it out on Emily, for sure, 100%. So it's very important to learn how to break these negative life patterns, how to get in there with your beliefs and actually start to shift the subconscious. Another one is I need her buy-in to lead. I'm not going to work on this marriage until she says she wants to work on it too. What an immature thing to do. It's looking for permission instead of taking ownership. Instead, you should be thinking, I lead first, she responds later. I don't wait, I set the tone. That's your job as the man. I should be able to figure this out on my own. Letting ego block help because you're used to being the guy with answers. I don't know what the hell I was trying to write here, but I should be able to figure this out on my own. It's just your ego getting in the way. It's your ego telling you, hey, it's easier to just try and figure it out on your own than you don't need help. You don't need help. You don't need help. I had to overcome this in business. I thought like this for a long time. And that's the thing when you're in these things and when these limiting beliefs are affecting you, you don't know. That's what's so important about limiting beliefs. That's why you need a coach to help you dig this stuff out. And that's what I've gotten incredibly good at helping other people do. Because when you're in it, you don't know the limiting beliefs that you have. So in my business, what held me back in the beginning for the longest time was I thought I could figure it out and do it all on my own. I didn't know that was my ego sabotaging me. I just thought, hey, I'm smart enough. I'll do it on my own. When I realized that I couldn't, through trial and error, that's when things changed. But what I'm saying is you don't have to lose your marriage to figure out some of the beliefs that are holding you back. We can figure that out way before that happens. So instead of, I should be able to figure this out on my own, obviously smart men use leverage. Tony Robbins, best life coach in the world, still has 4 coaches to this day. I still have a coach myself. The best business leaders in the world have coaches. The best athletes in the world have coaches. The guys with the best marriages in the world should also have coaches. That's what I'm here to do. The last one is my situation is unique. You're convincing yourself no one can understand your marriage, so you don't have to change, right? Patterns are universal. Instead, you should believe patterns are universal. This is solvable if I follow proven frameworks. And that's what I'm trying to help you bust this belief my situation is unique. I'm trying to help you bust this belief in this video, right? You should be like, no, my situation is not unique because all these guys went through the same thing and they came out the other side. So maybe I'm not that unique. Maybe I can actually do this. Maybe I can actually fix my marriage. Maybe there is a framework. All right, so we've talked about environment, behavior, skills and competencies, beliefs. Now we're going to go to the last section, which is identity. Okay. As you can see, everything streams down from identity. If you get the identity right, everything becomes easier. The identity of the empowered husband is what I want to go through here. And I want to be very clear. If you are not ready to have identity level transformation, I do not want to coach you. I do not want to help you. I have no desire to help somebody who just wants to manipulate his wife and change his behaviors win his wife back. I have no desire to do that. I want you to have a top 1% marriage. I want you to learn the skills to become the man that can actually create the environment for that marriage to occur. Okay? So that means you need to be willing to go through transformation. Go from version 1.0 of yourself to version 2.0 to version 3.0 and so on. So what does that mean? That means when you work with us, you go from an old identity of being a stuck man, which is typically a fixer, right? You're trying to fix the problems, to instead, in the relationship, to instead being a self-led man. You go from being an approval seeker to being self-respecting. You go from being a peacekeeper to being a grounded leader. You go from being a reactor to being a regulator. You go from being emotionally braced to emotionally steady. You go from being outcome dependent to outcome independent, which is massive. Whoops, very important, right? If you want to save your marriage, this is like one of the most important things you need to be able to do. You need to be able to shift your mindset and see that no matter what happens, you'll be okay and that you're coming out stronger on the other side. Once you do that, I've seen wives come back, open back up right away. Why this is so important is because it removes the pressure from her. It's very hard for her if you are outcome dependent. You're basing what you're willing to do, you're basing your decisions on the outcome. That puts so much pressure on her when she already has enough pressure as it is. You go from trying to be chosen to choosing who you are. That's also massively impactful. And you go from being afraid of losing to being grounded in self-respect. No matter what happens, you know you're a better man for it. And that's a very, very, very powerful thing. Okay, so this is essentially the transformation. This is the empowered husband philosophy. This is the framework. So I'm showing you this to show you that there's a method to the madness. This is based on science. We have the right systems, the right tactics, the right frameworks for you to actually transform and become the man your husband needs, okay? This is one area. So during our coaching sessions, when you're going to be coaching with me, we're going to identify certain things that are holding you back, okay? And so maybe it's a belief, maybe it's a skill and competency that you're missing. We're going to be able to pinpoint exactly what that is, and then I'm going to be able to train you on it, watching videos, filling out some stuff, working on yourself, working on whatever needs to be worked on to eliminate it. You're not watching 100 videos and hopefully one of them resonates with you. You're going directly to the source of exactly what's been bothering you, exactly what's been sabotaging your relationship, your life, and you're eliminating it. And you don't move on until you eliminate that main thing. And so when you do that, you start to create momentum and you start off by eliminating the biggest things first, obviously, right? And so that's how you change your identity. We work through every single level here. And maybe your problem is that you're just focused on your behavior. And maybe we need to help you zoom out and focus on different things. But we can definitely diagnose that within the first session. Okay, so like I said before, I've been through a lot of the marriage coaching, relationship coaching programs out there. One of the things I find the most impactful with my clients that I find was very much lacking in any other program was giving them a structure, showing them the steps. Okay, you need a game plan. You need steps. You need to know what you're doing, what you should be focusing on, where you're heading. That's how you regain leadership within yourself and within your marriage. And remember, one of the biggest things is right now your wife's emotions are leading the marriage. I want your mind to be leading the marriage, right? Your very logical mind should be in control, should be leading the marriage. But if you don't know what the hell's going on, you can't do that. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to take some time. I'm going to walk you through the different stages so you can actually start to see what you need to do to restore your marriage. So as you can see here, we have her journey, we have the stage, and we have your journey. Okay. So the different stages here, stage 1 is stop the bleeding, essentially stabilize the marriage. Okay. This is week 1. Within the first 3 to 5 days, we can do this. Stage 2 is reset the dynamic. So to reset the dynamic, we're going to create space plus safety. Stage 3 is rebuild the man. This is when we focus on recreating your identity and helping you develop a mind of steel. Stage 4 is restoring trust, proof over promises. Stage 5 is reigniting desire, recreating polarity and safety. And stage 6 is rebuilding the marriage, vision plus agreements. Okay? It's very simple to understand, which is crazy to me that nobody's ever explained this before. Nobody's ever come up with this before. It's like you need to rebuild the man and have a mind of steel before you start trying to restore trust. Otherwise, you try and restore trust without having changed who you are. She's going to test you. Obviously, that's what women do. She's going to test to see if the changes are real, and you're going to fail. So don't try and restore trust until you've done these things first. This is what happens with a lot of guys. They're bouncing all over the place. They're trying to reignite desire one week. And then the next day they're trying to restore trust. And then the next day they're trying to reset the dynamic and give space. And then the next day they work on themselves. Don't do that. I'll show you exactly what you need to do. Just listen. So here's where she's starting off at. She's starting off at what I call negative sentiment. That means she's emotionally checked out. She's asked for space, moved out, or spoken to a lawyer. She avoids all relationship talk. She sees you as the villain. Everything you do feels manipulative to her. She's in full resistance mode to you, to your changes. And when she thinks about the marriage, she feels failure and shame. You may not know that, but that's what she feels. Nothing you do lands anymore, and no matter what you try, it feels too late for her. Okay? This is negative sentiment. So you're probably starting off here. If she's in negative sentiment, what you do is you stop the bleeding and you stabilize the marriage, which means you do this. Very simple, guys. This is why this program is specifically for high-performing men, very logical men that like structure, that like accountability, that like to know exactly what to do. Just tell me what to do and I'll do it, okay? This is what you do. Stage 1 is going from blame to responsibility. So the first thing you're going to do is stop initiating with your wife. This doesn't mean don't talk to her. It means you're going to stop initiating, especially stop initiating deep conversations, any conversations about the relationship, okay? The next thing is you're going to handle the slap and you're going to do it properly. The slap is the moment she's told you one of these things. I love you, but I'm not in love with you. I'm not attracted to you, whatever that is. We call that the slap because it hurts. Okay? So you need to learn how to handle the slap. Remove the resentment from the slap. Remove the victim mindset or the self-pity or all that different stuff. You got to get rid of that. So what we're going to do that is we're going to let out the anger, the hurt, and the pain safely. Alone, not at her. This is massively overlooked. Some guys never do this. You see guys that are still bitter after a divorce 5, 10, 15, 20 years later, or they're never the same. Some guys' ego can't take it. They'll go through a divorce. They're never the same. You need to do this before you interact with your wife. Let me explain why this is so important. So throughout human evolution, men have had rituals to process their emotions. Emotions are energy in motion. Okay, energy in motion. There's a fantastic book called The Body Keeps the Score. Okay, if we have trauma, hurt, suppressed hurt, anger, all these different things, we store them in the body. Okay, and The Body Keeps the Score is a book that I read. I used to have terrible neck pain and tension. It was caused by stress, and I didn't know why. I read the book. Literally, just by reading the book, my neck pain went away. Okay, the mind and the body are very much connected, and sometimes what happens is men just keep storing stuff in their body. We keep pushing our emotions down and down and down. We do it in business. We do it in our relationships. And what ends up happening is once we get the slap, our emotions start to kind of leak out sideways. And what I mean by that is you'll be driving in the car one day and next thing you know, your emotions are just too much. You can't hold them in. They need to come out and you can feel that. So what we do is we strategically show you how to let the emotions out. We let you how to process the anger, let the hurt out, cry, do whatever you have to do so that you can come back to the relationship and be grounded. For once and for all, you're good to go. You've processed the pain. Okay, we're also going to help you gain clarity on what caused the marriage breakdown. We're going to help you develop empathy for how she has felt over time and shift from blaming her to taking full responsibility for your role. You focus on this first. And I don't understand how you could even debate this with all these other programs out there. If you're logical, you just look at this and you go, yes, this is exactly what needs to happen. This is what I need to do first, okay? So you do this and you follow the arrow and you see, hey, where's she going to be? If I do all this stuff, where's she going to be at? And you notice she's still in negative sentiment. Same thing. Why? Because nothing's really changed for her yet. The only thing that's changed is you've worked internally on yourself. You are making yourself more grounded. You're removing the anxiety, the stress, all this different stuff. You're able to show up in your life as the man you know you can be. And you understand her better now. But in her world, nothing's changed yet, which is completely fine. That's okay. So she's still in negative sentiment. So you go on to step number 2. You reset the dynamic and you create space and safety. Okay? Creating space and safety. What I want you to do, and this is what we focus on, and you don't move to the next one until you get this ready, like until I'm satisfied with this level. This stage is creating space and safety. So I want you to stop judgments and expectations. I want you to root out controlling behaviors. I want you to manage your emotions without leaning on her. Okay? That means she's no longer babysitting your emotions. You don't text, you don't call because you're lonely, you don't do any of that stuff. You learn to self-regulate yourself. You know and keep your boundaries, and you let go of all control. That's how you create the space and the safety that is needed. Right now, she's probably saying you're controlling, you're pushing, and she's retreating. Okay, it's just like a magnet. Positive and negative, you're pushing, she's retreating. Or two negatives, you're pushing, she's retreating. What we want to do is create space. Because in that space, you allow her to move forward. That is absolutely necessary for attraction. It's absolutely necessary for your relationship to heal. You can't keep pushing forward. So the beautiful thing about understanding the steps is, a lot of guys online, they'll talk about, oh, you need to give space or you can't give space. That's irrelevant. You need to learn what to do when you're giving space, because it's not giving space that's the secret. It's what you're doing. So as you've noticed here, you've started giving her space and you're doing the work on yourself. You're not using it as a behavior, as a tactic. See, the guys that'll tell you to just give her space, they're focused on the behavior. We're not doing that. The behavior is downstream of the identity of what we're doing, of the beliefs and the skills. You see what I'm saying? It's the cause, not the effect. Okay, so we come here, we come all the way down. The next stage is, if you do this, if you stop judgments and expectations, you root out controlling behavior, you essentially create space, what's going to happen is she's going to jump into dual mind narrative. Okay, so we're making progress. She's from negative sentiment to dual mind narrative, which means she's torn between hope and fear. One day she's warm, the next she's cold. Her emotions are inconsistent. She's starting to test you more often. She complains more, which is actually a good sign. And she asks you for help again. Okay, she engages in small talk, she sends mixed signals, and she watches you from a distance. Dual mind narrative is she's still unsure. She's seeing some changes. She may admit to them or she may not. Doesn't matter. We're not asking if she is. We don't care what she says about whether or not we're changing. We're doing it no matter what. Okay. So she's in dual mind narrative now. What we're going to be focusing on is rebuilding the man. So identity plus mind of steel. Now, this is a linear progression. Like, we're moving in one direction here, but I want you to know that once you move past the level, it doesn't mean you forget about it. We want to make sure that we master this, that this is good, this as well, and it doesn't come back up. So sometimes week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, I'll sense this in a session. They'll start, the anger will start to come out, and I'll go, hey man, you need to set some time to do the work, to pull the weeds, we call it, to let this stuff out. And then they'll do it. Okay? So we need to make sure that we're accountable to all of these steps, because the last thing we want to do is restart. Okay? We don't want to restart. So rebuild the man. Here's what we do when we rebuild the man. We identify your emotional patterns. We rewrite your negative narratives. We strengthen your resilience. We help you regain control over your emotions. Establish consistent habits and practices. Build discipline, sleep, training, and focus. Create structure within your days, weeks, and months. And increase your capacity to perform. You have responsibilities. You have people depending on you. You probably run a team. You need to perform at your best in your career, in your business. So these are not all, like, we need to take a holistic approach here, because we can't just focus on the marriage. If we just focus on the marriage, but you're stressed out because of work, none of this is going to work. So here's where you really focus on your lifestyle, your habits, your mindset, your business, everything. If we can help you be more productive, if we can help you with the right structure, with the right systems to take control over your time again, to take control over your business again, so that you're in a better place to work on your marriage, then that's absolutely what we have to do. Okay? And we don't move on until we do that. Okay? That's very, very important. The biggest thing is increase your capacity to perform. If you can perform at a higher level, you just become Superman. You can make more money in less time. You can do more, to help your family out. You can pour more into this work. You can accelerate your capacity to learn, to improve your skills and capacities in here. All right, next step. As you rebuild the man, this is when influence starts to return. She's open to your influence again. Attraction starts to rebuild naturally. She allows your touch. She flirts. She spends time alone with you. She complies with small requests. She laughs with you again. She pulls close, then pulls back. She tests to see if you've really changed. So here is a very important stage. This is when you're going to be restoring trust. When you're in the restoring trust stage, and guys, once again, we track this while you're going through the program. You're always going to know what stage you're in. So when you're in restoring trust stage, the first thing we're going to talk about in our sessions is like, okay, how are you doing on all these? And we have trainings to help you with all these. So the first thing is be the bull. I really love this be the bull example. This is from the course, Bulletproof Husband. So be the bull is essentially being safe, grounded, and steady. So when we look at the masculine and the feminine, we look at it like there's a bowl with water in the bowl. The bowl is the masculine, okay? The bowl is sturdy, it's strong, it's plain, it's boring, it doesn't move, it doesn't do anything. It's very simple. A bowl is very simple. The water, being the feminine, is kind of all over the place. It sparkles, it glistens, it's up, it's down, it can crash against the walls, it can do all these different things. Okay? It's almost it's like when a man and a woman dance. The man's job is to be the frame, right? The woman is the one that's beautiful and she's twirling and spinning around and doing all these things. The man is just there to be the frame. He's there to be safe, steady, and grounded. Okay, it's the same thing here. So your job as the man to restore trust is be the bull. And that's something my clients and myself as well, we repeat in our minds. It becomes like a motto. Be the bull. Be the bull means be steady. You don't respond to her emotions. You let her femininity come out. And that's a beautiful thing. A lot of guys want a feminine woman, but they don't let their women be feminine. Feminine means emotions. That's what it means, guys. It means she's going to be like water. She's going to be up, down, all around. Some days beautiful and glowing and happy and all these things. They bring excitement to life. You need to be steady enough and not get caught up into those emotions. So we teach you how to do that. You need to learn how to listen deeply, right? On the skills level here. Listen deeply. Ask open-ended questions. Leadership is listening. She should be speaking 80% of the time. You're not explaining yourself. You're not explaining or justifying anything. Leadership is listening. We teach you how to do that. What we want you to do is focus on helping her feel good as a wife and mother. I want you to focus on helping her feel heard, understood, appreciated, and valued. Okay. So what we do, once again, because you're a very logical person, because you're a high achiever, you're going to go into conversations already knowing what it is that you want to focus on, what it is that you want to, how it is you want to show up in those conversations, okay? So you're not going into an emotional conversation with no tools, no preparation. So to make her feel heard, what you do is you focus on the feeling that she's expressing, okay? That's how you make her feel heard. Not what she's saying, but the feelings she's expressing. To make her feel understood, you focus on trying to understand what her commitment is, okay? So if she says, you never take out the trash, you're such a lazy bum, okay? That's actually an opportunity to help her feel good as a wife and a mother. Why? Because what she's committed to here is you being a man of integrity. It's a huge mindset shift. When you start to see her complaints as her commitments, you start to actually make her feel understood. And that's when she's going to go, wow, you actually understand me. And once again, we have training specifically on these things. The next one is appreciated. What about her is great, right? Literally focus on that. What about her is great? Be specific. Don't say you're awesome, you're an incredible mother. We help you do that. And once again, you develop this as a skill. It becomes a muscle, it becomes a reflex. How nice would it be to have a wife who always feels appreciated? How nice would it be for you to always feel appreciated? And the secret, my friends, is if you want to feel appreciated, you want your wife to appreciate you, take the lead. Start appreciating her first. The next one is make her feel valued. If you want to make her feel valued, you got to be thinking, how does she serve your life? How does she serve my life? Every single day you can be thinking that. So that's what you're doing when you're restoring trust. All these things. Also, integrity is king. Only commit to what you'll always do. Be vigilant with your words and focus on friendship and co-parenting. Very, very important here. Notice how I haven't really spoken about anything to do with with having conversations around the relationship yet. We're still focused on friendship and co-parenting. Here, I want you to see here. Only until level 6, stage 6, are we open to relationship conversations. Don't be doing it now. All it's going to do is create more pressure, okay? We still want to have some space. We don't want to be pressuring her into relationship conversations yet. It's super counterproductive, not useful. Also, you haven't transformed yet. You don't have enough time yet. You'll see. You want to go through all these stages before you start relationship conversations. One of the biggest no-nos I see guys do all the time. Don't do that. Okay, so you've restored trust. Now you're going to go here. What she's going through is she's starting to have emotional buy-in. Trust is rebuilding because you've been working on it. She sees a future with you again. She talks about plans, trips, dates. She comes to you emotionally. She asks you for support. She initiates small physical contact. She opens up about her fears. She starts including you in decisions. She believes change might be real. And this is a very nice stage for her, especially if she's been struggling with the relationship for a long time. It starts to feel fun again. She starts to feel less anxious, less depressed. She starts to be herself again as well. Something that's very important that I want you guys to know. On average, this is the average. Women spend 2 years thinking about divorce before bringing it up to their husbands. Okay? When she tells you that she can't do this anymore, she's already thought about it for 2 years. So you are coming at this way behind. Emotionally, logistically, you're way, way, way behind. Also, she's been in pain for way longer than you have. So when it comes to doing this work, don't think of it as, why do I have to do all this work? Why isn't she doing the work? You have years to catch up on. Where she has been doing the work. She thinks she's been doing the work, and she probably has, but you haven't noticed it because it was emotion. She was giving you emotional clues and not logical clues. The logical clue to you is, hey, I can't do this anymore. But odds are for 2 years before, she was giving you emotional clues, and that was very difficult for her. I just want you to know that. So as trust starts to rebuild, because you're literally working on rebuilding trust, as trust is rebuilt, she's in that stage. Now you're going to focus on reigniting desire. And reigniting desire, you make her feel heard, understood, appreciated, valued, this time as a woman and lover. So before it's like as a wife and mother, here is as a woman and lover. So we make it more specific, a little bit more intimate. Be unpredictable and surprise her. No forced endearments, no my loves yet, absolutely not. In this stage, laughter and fun equals attraction. This is when the fun starts to come back. Touch more, lead with affection. The 90% rule is like go 90% of the way, let her come the last 10%. Be ready for unexpected fires, emotional or sexual. She may jump your bones one day and then the next day yell at you and get mad at you for who knows what. Just be ready for that and know that you need to continue being the bull. That's how you're going to continue to rebuild trust. Stay emotionally steady, pursue her but silently, okay? What I mean by pursue her but silently, it means you're not doing this. You're not engaging in relationship conversations. All right, the surrender phase. For her, this is where she fully trusts you again, where she feels emotionally safe around you, where she initiates affection, she leans into her feminine, she laughs more, she wants to be close to you, she texts or calls without a reason, she talks positively about you, and the connection feels natural again, okay? The surrender phase is where a woman can actually surrender into her feminine nature. This is where she's herself again. This is what she's searching for. This is what she wants in a relationship. This is why she's pulling away, because this is what she's naturally drawn to. She wants to feel safe, emotionally safe. She wants to lean into her feminine energy. She wants to be able to laugh and chill and have fun. As she's in the surrender phase, this is what you're doing. You're going to be rebuilding the marriage. So only when she's in the surrender phase are you doing this. Okay, so bigger, more frequent surprises. This is when you can surprise her. This is when you're open to relationship conversations. This is where you create alignment and a shared vision. This is when you communicate and then trust. So this is a really important one. You communicate with all the skills that you've learned. You're able to be vulnerable. You're able to communicate your boundaries. You're able to communicate maybe the things that you don't like that she's doing. And then you trust that she's going to take care of it. You're not going to micromanage. You're just going to trust her that she can do it, that she's going to fix it. She's going to correct it. And you let her manage the relationship, which is another topic for another video. Priorities. Your priorities are your terms. You cooperate. Your terms first, then cooperate with the relationship. Then you focus on your purpose and then your wants. and you invite her to help contribute. She becomes your coach, right? You can tell her like, hey, how do you think I did in that last conflict conversation we had the other day? How do you think that was? And then she starts to coach you, and you can then start to coach her as well if she's up for it. Okay, so this becomes the pathway to fixing your marriage, to having a top 1% marriage. From as bad as it gets, toxic, horrible, completely on the brink of divorce marriage, to a marriage that you guys both love, you guys both happy, peaceful, and just very passionate, connected marriage. Okay, that's what you have to do. All right, now the last thing here is let's talk about the Empowered Husband program. So if you want to work with us, if you want to see how we can actually help you transform not only your life, but your relationship, while making more money, while being more purpose-driven, while having more time and more peace and more clarity, then here's some information. So the results you can expect are, number one, sharp self-awareness. So you're going to have clear insights into your patterns, your reactions, and blind spots so that you can lead yourself, your relationships, and your life with intention instead of impulse. Number two, you're going to have life balance and well-being, which means you're going to have alignment across work, relationships, health, and purpose without burnout, chaos, or constantly feeling behind. Number three is you're going to have relational mastery. You're going to have the ability to build deep, grounded, resilient relationships where trust, respect, and emotional safety are stable rather than fragile. Number four, you're going to have fewer internal and external conflicts. You're going to have a structured way to handle pressure, uncertainty, and adversity so that life stops feeling reactive and starts feeling navigable. Number five, you're going to have a lasting legacy. So not just success, but impact. Becoming a man whose growth benefits everyone around him now and long after. Okay? So those are the results you can expect in that domain. Now, at the beginning of this video, we were talking about the three different options: traditional family therapy, generic coaching programs, kind of do it on your own, surface level fixes. None of those work, which is why I created a structured 90-day approach. Okay? So for the first 30 days, we focus on removing the weeds. This means we're helping you dig up all the internal issues you're having that are causing you external problems. And we start to help you get laser focused on who you need to become to fix all the problems you're experiencing in your marriage. After that, the next 30 days are focused on reprogramming. This is where we give you the resources, frameworks, and tasks that actually help you become a better communicator and show up as the best version of you. This is where the rubber meets the road and where we start to implement everything you've been learning about conflict resolution and communication skills. And the final 30 days are all about embodiment. In this final stretch, we're showing you how to integrate this version of yourself into your everyday life. The version of you that's thinking the right thoughts, saying the right things, and acting in a way that helps transform your marriage entirely. Once again, you are not enrolling into something random, but rather a scientific procedure that's designed explicitly for quick wins and sustainable results. I think I've proven that throughout this video. How this program works and why it's different. Well, it works because it's based on three unique mechanisms. Okay, mechanism one is problem-based support. No two men get the same experience. The work adapts to your specific challenges in real time, focusing only on what actually moves the needle for you. As I was saying before, we're only going to focus on what you need to focus on in this pyramid. Mechanism number two, multi-medium delivery. Real learning is immersive, not passive. The work combines weekly live coaching with targeted training, guided reflections, exercises, and a physical workbook used daily for accountability and insight. Okay? Issues are identified in real time and addressed immediately through action, not just information. Mechanism number three, repeated exposure. Transformation is built through consistency, not intensity. I work closely with clients over time, reinforcing the right patterns, correcting course in real time, and ensuring change actually sticks. This is sustained guidance. Okay. What I mean by repeated exposure is you're not just going to go through this one time, right? Yes, we have our principles, we have our frameworks, we're moving forward. But repeated exposure is like, hey, if I catch you slipping on week 3 and you're still here, struggling to create space and being controlling, we got to go back. Repeated exposure. We go back until we fix it, until it becomes. It's one of these levels I call unconscious competence, where you do things without even knowing that you're doing them. You're doing the right things without even having to focus on it. How the program is delivered, the 3 C's. So 3 elements work together to ensure insight turns into action and action turns into lasting change. 1 is curriculum. So you have a clear structured path that removes confusion and gives you direction at every stage of the journey. 2, you have coaching, personalized guidance that ensures consistent application, accountability, and real world results with me. There's no other coach but me. I work with every single person. This also means it's very limited. So I only take on 5 new clients every single month. So when you apply, just know that I may be taking new clients. I may not be. So just be aware of that. It's very high touch point. It's only me. I'm not here trying to hire a bunch of coaches and just shuffle you guys through a program. Number 3 is community. Your environment shapes your growth. You're surrounded by disciplined, like-minded men who understand the work, reinforce high standards, and accelerate insight and transformation. Okay? Remember at the beginning, I was talking about how these generic courses, they just put everybody in it, right? No standards, no bar, no pressure. Everybody with a pulse and a credit card gets in. It's not the same thing here. I disqualify more than half the people that apply. If you are not successful in your career, if you're not successful in your business, if you don't know how to make money, I can't help you. The reason is because there are too many variables. There's already so many variables in a marriage. And if you can't make money, it's another variable that like you need to figure out first. You need to learn before I can help you fix your marriage. Okay. If you make money, if you're a high performer, if you have, a lot of responsibility and stress, this program was 100% created for you. And so it's created for you because of this. So you also need to be willing to put in 3 to 5 hours of work every single week. Okay. If you want to save your marriage and really nail this in 90 days, it's going to take 3 to 5 hours every single week. Now, this isn't 3 to 5 hours of coaching. It's 3 to 5 hours of work combined. Some of that's going to be journaling. Some of that's going to be one-on-one session with me. Some of that can be group coaching. Some of that can be watching videos, specific videos that you're assigned. So you can also listen to videos while you're driving. I have a lot of clients that do that. So don't be overwhelmed with the 3 to 5 hours, but that's the level of dedication that I want here from the guys that join me. The last thing I want to say is I'm not interested in working with you if your intention is slapping a Band-Aid on your issues, okay? When you come in and work with me, I'm rolling up my sleeves and I'm getting in the trenches with you on this. I mean, I'm all in. So it's really important to me that you're committed to the process. So while I offer guidance and resources, the effort, the drive, and the dedication must stem from you. You are the pivotal element in this growth equation. Men who do this work change permanently. Men who don't keep repeating the same cycles with new information. All right, so that's all the information I have. If you're interested in joining the program, you can book a call with me down below. We can talk about those options, but please come ready. Please come if you're serious. I don't like talking to tire kickers or people who aren't fully committed yet. If you're fully committed to changing your life, restoring your marriage, being the man you know you can be, book a call down below, and we'll see if I can help you out. Bye-bye.